You know, you're not playing in what was the conference?
Conference
2. Whatever.
Tackles. Let's confirm this, bro. Let's confirm this.
You know what?
I got it, bro. I get you.
I call it conference 2.
Yo.
CoffPotatoGM.com. I'm CPGM Headley. This is CPGM Juice. CPGM Drew in the middle. And we're back. We're back to talk about the draft breakdown. We're in the New Orleans Saints right now. Hashtag, who day?
Who that?
Who that?
Disrespect Cincinnati?
Yeah, there we go again with the NFC South. Disrespect. I'm a Bucs fan. He's a Falcons fan. I ain't going to disrespect you guys, but I'm going to say 2083.
2083.
Go ahead, man.
The Saints, man, let's go back to last year's draft first, man. They had
Can't say enough about it, huh? Can't say enough about it.
They had the best draft.
They did.
Alvin Kamara, Ramcyzk, you know, Marcus Williams. Who else I'm missing?
Marshon, bro. You missed Marshon.
Alvin Kamara.
Marshon Lattimore.
Marshon Lattimore. Yeah. A lot of guys.
Right. Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah. The whole draft was they played. Everybody played, man. They were a big part of what they were in the playoffs and in the season. And
to me, it re-energized Drew Brees. I think part of the reason why Drew Brees decided. I mean, obviously Drew Brees loves football, but I think he was really energized by this class and how much of a difference they made year one. They just came in and everybody was playing at a really high level. So yeah.
And the Saints, like predominantly, you know, they're a pass happy team. Sean Payton could get carried away at times, but you know they relied on that run game and they relied on that defense. The defense was surprisingly great. You know. They set records for being a bad defense, you know, last couple seasons before that, but they made a 180 turnaround last year, man. So, you know, they lost a tough one.
They did.
Okay.
But you mentioned the 180. Who was the most among the rookies?
Oh, Marshon Lattimore.
So
changed that whole defense.
Changed the whole defense. Just want to make sure we got that on.
I know he didn't play at least the first game of the season last year. And
soft tissue.
And you can see it. But once he hit that field, man,
one
player changed the whole defense, man. He didn't even play the middle of the field, which is crazy.
Yeah.
You know, like a middle linebacker. So, your cornerback one?
Yeah, my cornerback one last year. Ramcyzk was my cornerback one. Alvin Kamara was. I love Kamara.
Ramcyzk doesn't play corner.
I say Ramcyzk corner.
Yeah.
Ramcyzk was my OT one. Alvin Kamara was one of my favorite players in the entire draft. So
had him over McCaffrey.
Yeah. Alvin, that's my guy. So this season, after that tough loss, we're not going to dwell on that.
No.
You know, what did they do in the first round? They made a bold, risky decision. They traded up from 27 to 14 to get Marcus Davenport, pass rusher from UTSA.
Why do you call it a risky decision?
They gave him a first-round pick next year. You know, I know the Saints, you know, they're in win-now mode. So,
Sure.
But being in win-now mode, drafting a guy like Davenport that might need some time to develop, I'm not sure he's going to come in and be dominant. What do you think, Drew, man? What you think about the pick?
It was risky to me. And when you talk about, you know, defensive ends, you know, there's certain positions that, you know, when they come into the league, that potential that you know that player could have, it doesn't always show up that first year. So, you know, and I believe defensive end is one of those positions where it just doesn't always show up. You know, obviously it was a Cam Jordan, you know, needs that help. You know, he can't do it all by himself. So, you know, they went out, and word is they think he's DeMarcus Ware. I mean, I don't know about all that. I hope that, as a Bucs fan, I hope that's not the case. But as a football fan, I hope that's the case for for the Saints. But I mean, he's got one move, man.
Power.
That's it. Bull rush. I'm gonna run through you. But Marcus Davenport, the word is that, you know, he's supposed to be. They think he's DeMarcus Ware. If that's the case, you know, the Saints absolutely made the right move. I don't think that's the case simply because of, you know, where he played, man. Conference USA, he had how many moves?
One, the power move.
The power move, bull rush, man. And you playing in Conference USA going against so tackles.
Let's say lesser competition.
Lesser competition, you know, and then you talk about it wasn't in the Power 5. You're not in the Power 5. You was in Conference USA. Now you're in the NFL going against elite offensive tackles, man. And I don't see it, man. I don't see it for what they gave up. I'm not convinced, man.
My thought process is it was a steep price. It was a steep price because anytime there's so very few quote unquote sure things in the NFL to give up a future first-round pick who could potentially be, maybe not this upcoming draft class, but Drew Brees' replacement down the road, another player that can give you immediate production. Generally in pass rushers, even the guys that are taken first overall or in the top 5, sometimes they don't come out the gate like gangbusters. Sometimes they take a little time to get acclimated. You mentioned the level of competition. DeMarcus Ware played at Troy. You know what I'm saying? So, there's, if you can get to the passer, we always talk about sacks and whether or not it translates. That's one of the stats that translates when you talk about what they've done at the collegiate level to the professional level. What I saw of Davenport, I got a chance to see him live at the Senior Bowl, was a player that took to coaching. He has all the physical tools, as you mentioned. Yeah. Can't coach that length, can't coach that size. He's got room to grow to put more on that frame of his. You understand what I'm saying? Made some pretty good athletic plays, scooped and scored, got after the passer, put Baker Mayfield on his butt a couple times, you know what I'm saying? So I think with requisite coaching, being able to have a locker room next to Cam Jordan, whatever the case may be, could bode very well. And on the off chance that he hits the ground running like that last year's rookie class, that's going to be a tough team to beat. Definitely. They're going to be a tough team to beat anyway. You understand what I'm saying? Assuming Drew Brees is healthy, assuming that Marshon Lattimore and company, they stay healthy. But if they get anything out of Davenport, they can be scary. And they're setting themselves up for future success defensively. So I'm not as pessimistic. I understand the concern. I do understand the concern, but I'm actually a little bit more optimistic about his overall prospects because he got better from day one of the Senior Bowl week to the Senior Bowl game. You could see him just getting better and better and better. Yeah.
It's just where they went and got him and what they gave up to get him.
Sure.
At 14, man, because the talk was, before, as the Senior Bowl was approaching was, man, this guy's a top 10 pick. The top 10. I'm like, what are we talking about here, man? And then as the Senior Bowl kind of went and gone, it was, all right, well, maybe he's at the bottom of the first round. Let's see him at the combine. Let's see how those things show up. And so, that's kind of where he sat, was at the bottom of the first round.
That's kind of where you had him slotted.
Yeah.
Understandably.
And for the Saints to come up and in the middle of the first round to grab him and give up that first round pick is just like.
But we see it every year, man. Teams fall in love with the potential.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you have a guy that you say is the end of the first round pick, but he's a potential 15 sack guy. So trading up to 18, might not be that bad. If he turns out to be, like you said, DeMarcus Ware, then that'd be an excellent pick.
The only thing before we move on, the only thing I wanted to point out is, again, I like the potential. I like to see. Of course, I prefer to see more on film. Yeah. But I was impressed by what I saw from the beginning. Watching his tape through the end of Senior Bowl week, you could see him becoming a better football player.
And you speak about the Senior Bowl week, when he first got there, he was getting bullied, and then every day in practice, he got better and better. So
coaching does matter. The one caveat I will say is, in terms of giving up that hefty price, that first round pick is next year's class.
Yeah, a lot of pass rushing.
It's this year did not have the same level of, and maybe it's just one of those. Listen, we're really high on this guy. We're going to strike while the iron's hot. We only have maybe a 3-year window with Drew Brees. Let's get this guy in here. But next year's class is full of pass rushers, really, really good ones. So
definitely, man. Let's get to the 3rd round pick. The Saints did not have a 2nd round pick. Coming into the draft, I thought that wide receiver was a need for the Saints. They added some guys for AZ, the Cam Merediths of the world. But Tre'Quan Smith is a feisty, physical receiver. He played for UCF. Everyone on that team was feisty and physical, man. They ran to the football. This guy has, great moves after the catch, and he give it to you in the run blocking. But just like Marcus Davenport, he's a bit raw.
Sure.
So it's a common trend right now with the Saints. They're picking players that has immense ceiling, but a little raw, man.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I thought another player at the Senior Bowl, and you kind of see a trend there. The guys that have a lot of film, a lot of experience. Not so much in the case of Davenport necessarily, but the guys that are grown men that are prepared to play at the NFL level. They don't have a whole lot more to do from a physical standpoint to get prepared. I thought he was real smooth. I thought him getting in and out of his breaks. Acceleration, you know what I'm saying? I thought he was really smooth. He has a nice size. Doesn't always play up to his size, but you mentioned the feistiness. There is a mentality out of the prospects coming out of UCF that I think a lot of teams throughout the league they identify and see, and it could be a real boom to their team overall.
Yeah, y'all took everything.
Took everything from Tre'Quan.
Yeah.
You want to get to the 4th round pick?
Yeah.
Florida State.
No, I don't really want to get to the.
You don't want to get to him? Rick Leonard?
That's your guy.
Rick Leonard, that's my guy?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, this
By
guy,
default.
this guy's I thought it was a reach, to be honest. This guy's a former defensive lineman.
Yeah.
He transitioned to the offensive side of the football. Florida State, they needed some help with the offensive line. They weren't really good on the offensive line, and Rick Leonard was part of this offensive line that wasn't really that great. So another guy, we see another guy that has, maybe a potential, the ceiling, but he's not ready right now to contribute. I don't think the Saints want him to contribute right now. He's
I don't think they need
later
it.
down the road
guy. Yeah, they don't need it. They don't need it at this juncture. What they've done recently over the last couple of years with the Andrews Pete, with the Ramcyzk, the aforementioned Ramcyzk, they're kind of set up. They're kind of set up.
Terran Armstead,
Max Unger, you know what I mean? So they're in good shape.
The next pick, 5th round pick, Natrell Jamerson. Wisconsin, you know this guy Drew really well. I seen him all over the field at Wisconsin. You know, he made plays on the football. He's an athletic guy. He can do a bunch of different things. He can come down and cover. He can play up high safety. So he's kind of a Swift Army knife.
Yeah, you said Swift?
Yeah, he said Swift.
Swift?
He said
Swiss. It's a new thing. It's a Swift.
It's so Swift Army knife.
Yeah, he's kind of a jack of all trades. It's kind of how Wisconsin used him. You know, so as it stands right now, he's probably going to be a special teamer. As the secondary for the Saints is pretty solid, is it not? So, I think he's a special teamer for you guys. I think he's a smaller guy, so it may take him some time to kind of, what do we call that? Acclimate. But you know, he could be a player, especially on special teams, man.
Jim Leonard, if I'm not mistaken, he's got those guys coached well. I know one of the guys that you guys really like out of that particular secondary, Nick Nelson. You know, these guys, technically they're sound. They have high football IQs. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a good, to your point. I think he's probably gonna make his way on the special teams early.
Yep. Next pick, 6th round pick. Another guy that's going to make his way on special teams early is Kareem Moore from Boston College. He's a 4-time special teams player at Boston College. I don't think he's ready to contribute on the defensive side, but you know, we always talk about it. Later picks, 5th, 6th, 7th round picks. Teams are looking for guys to help on the special teams side of the football. It's the third side of the football. It's offense, defense, and special teams. It's very important. So getting guys that could, you know, play that is essential at this time.
And it looks like his best quality that I've seen is he's feisty, man. He's willing to mix it up, get in there. So, you know, you running down and you're a gunner, right? You don't kick off kick off, you running down or
you gotta have a screw loose.
Yeah, you getting pushed out of the sideline, people spitting in your face, going crazy. They try to keep you from getting to their return guy, man. Whatever it takes, man. This guy, he's willing to mix it up, man. Bang, you know, throw his head in there. So, you know, he's got a little development, as does Jamerson.
Yep. 6th round, we're going to go to Boston Scott, running back, Louisiana Tech. And we kind of saw the tape, man. We're kind of impressed. This guy's, 5'7", 195? Yeah, but he runs really well in between the tackles, physical.
He's willing to lower his head and lay pads, man. And he bouncing off tackles. I know, you know, obviously it's from Louisiana Tech and whatnot, but, I mean, running back for me, competition isn't the biggest thing for me. It's just what can he do on tape, and dude be banging, man.
And Mark Ingram is facing a 4-game suspension. Do you think this is the eventual Mark Ingram replacement? Last year of his contract?
That's difficult to say. I think to your point, they like what they saw. He's a local kid being in Louisiana, so you know they got a lot of exposure to him, got a real close look at him. Yeah. I don't know if he makes an immediate impact. I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, once training camp rolls around, another veteran isn't in New Orleans, just getting some touches or whatever the case may be. So it's difficult to say. The lead back is Alvin Kamara. That's the guy. That's what we are certain of, considering Ingram's suspension.
Yep. And then yes.
No, I was just saying, just remember the name Boston Scott, man. It's you know, like you said, Mark Ingram's 4-game suspension. This guy might come out of nowhere and just surprise.
We've seen it before with Sean Payton. If Sean Payton likes a guy, he's going to find a way to get him involved.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Even to the detriment of the offense. If Sean Payton really likes a guy, he'll get him touches.
And then last pick, Will Clapp, center LSU. LSU didn't really have a good offensive line. Another offensive lineman coming from a bad situation in college. He's just going to be more depth for the offensive line.
I think the thing with Clapp is he offers some versatility, some interior lineman versatility, guard and center. But I mean, unless you can run the football, I think you can really put the passing aspect of things more on the quarterback and the coaching more so than anything else. So I wouldn't hold it against Clapp. Clapp has performed well. He's earned, you know, all conference honors before in the SEC. So I actually think this is kind of an interesting pick, particularly given the flexibility he offers. He could dress because he plays multiple positions. He's not going to be expected to start, but he could dress early on in his career.
You know, I want to say about the Saints and Sean Payton, I always like it. You know, I'm a Bucs fan, like I said, and it'd be 31. I'm like, I'm glad it's 31 because I know Sean Payton's not running the football. He's going to pass it, and my team has a better shot of stopping that pass than they do that run. You know,
that was old Sean Payton.
Yeah, that was old Sean Payton. So now we talk about, you know, what's the word? Fast forward to, you know, last year, and listen. He figured it out, man. It was his weakness, man. You know what was I'm a pass, you know, on most downs, even when it, you know, the numbers say I should, you know, run the football. I should run the football. I'm a pass. So, you know, he's figured it out, and I just wonder if he didn't find Alvin Kamara, where would the Saints be?
Oof. Well,
because that might have been the guy that said, you know what,
we need to get him the football.
Yes. I don't know if it was Kamara, because if you think about it, and let me just say this before we get to him getting Kamara, and whether or not that was the determining factor in terms of them becoming more balanced. Sean Payton is an offensive genius. He's an offensive genius. And I think with that comes a certain level of aggressiveness in terms of your play calling, impatience, and hubris. All of that wrapped together is part of his genius. It's part of why he's so creative in his play design. I've seen Drew Brees drop back, fake a screen one way through the screen the other way. You know what I'm saying? Like you want that, but the balance that came, and by all reports, they saw Kamara. I don't know if it was at their pro day, at Tennessee's pro day, whatever the case may be. And Peyton got on the plane and was like, "We got to get this guy.
Gotta get him.
We got to get this guy." Yeah. But it's not that Kamara just became a bell cow. You know, Mark Ingram had a hell of a year too. You know what I'm saying? And they used Kamara quite a bit out of the backfield in the passing game, an extension, you know, of the running game and the short passing game. So I think they had a lot of success. I think because they were getting chunk yardage on the ground, he was more comfortable with sticking with it because they were getting big plays on the ground.
And you got to think about, on the other side of the football, the defensive side, they were finally making stops now. So it lends to the offense, let's run the football some more. We trust our defense now.
Yes. So yeah, you didn't have to put it all on Drew Brees' arm. You weren't in catch-up mode all the time. I'd agree with that. The Saints, the outlook for the Saints is really good. It's
I'd agree.
Very good.
It's scary,
very good.
It's scary.
Yep. Yeah. You got it, man. Hashtag who dat? I said it right this time.
Yeah.
Hashtag who dat, the New Orleans Saints. That's the draft breakdown. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like, comment. Drew, want to hear your comments.
Yeah, man. And we want your take. You know, what's your take on Sean Payton in the past and now? You know, and we want to know what's your feeling on your team, man. Bucs fan here, Packers fan here. I don't really care if the Cowboys fan, the Cowboys fan, so just let us know, man.
PotatoGM.com.
Payton is in the building.